Hello and welcome to the second half of step 24. I just want to say I made a video for step 24 and it was a fairly lengthy one. This is a more extensive step than I thought, but for whatever reason I can't download it to upload it onto YouTube. So I'm going to have to do a real quick overview of what we did. It's going to be way shorter, but hopefully you'll still be able to complete this step without too much trouble. So the first thing was putting the drum together, which was easy enough, and actually I think we did it last time. I ended up drilling a hole in the drum so that I could put the picture hanging wire in there. We ended last time, I was going to get some beading wire that was going to work. This unfortunately did not work because of the stiffness of the material and the plastic coating. It's too much tension, and when I tried to temper it, obviously the plastic all melted off, and it's just not going to work. So I ended up going with normal everyday picture hanging wire. One thing, when you have the kinks in the wire, you can work them out just by messing with it. Make sure you retwist so that you get the same twist in the line. But this worked out really good, I thought. There's the actual one trick that I do, because sometimes you don't wrap this right. It does say, notice the rope orientation. You want to wrap the cabling that we're trying to replicate here that way, so that it's coming out over the top. One way you can mitigate that is you can just wrap the roll, leaving a space like I did here, and then you can take a shorter piece and curve it with the cable end, and just hook it through, and it looks like it all belongs in there, but you don't have to worry about all the tension and all the crazy that goes with it. In this step, I glued on each of these pieces. I did not glue the center section in the middle at this step, because I wanted to be able to rotate it if I needed to set it up right. Oh, excuse me. Well, at least it's all being held together nice and tight now. Moving on, added the photo etch strip on this side right here, and then the cable retainer outfit, which gets glued onto the frame. And what I did was I glued it right to the drum itself, and that stopped it from rotating it. But by that point in time, I had this where I wanted it. I did let this dry for a little while before I glued it on, and just so you know, it doesn't glue at a 90 degree or whatever. There's a little angle on the bottom of this, so it does have this angular kind of setup for being on there. Next is the photo etch piece right here that gets bent up. Follow the outline or the profile framing right here to do it right, because what it does is it sticks out, and this end of the cable goes through, so it kind of holds it when it's not in use. The one thing that I noticed was, you end up bending this a little bit different than how it is on there, but the other part I noticed is this piece of photo etch doesn't completely go through here easily through this opening, so be aware of that. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle if you super glue this on and then try and run this through. You're going to end up popping that off, and frustration. And another thing I did was, when I put this on, I put the super glue on a little bit too much. I was fighting with it a little bit, so I thought I'd clean that off right now. Now what I'm going to try and do, we'll see if this works, is use the super glue remover. Now this has been set for a while. Oh yeah. does a good job cleaning up the edges. I'm very happy with how well that's going. There, clean that right up nice. So again, it's called, this is Uncure by this particular brand, but it's a debonder. Worked pretty nice, cleaned that right up, even after 3 or 4 hours. So there was that. Also added the other photo etch strip on here, and this is just using regular model glue, as I've done in the past, so that it sticks to this. And then during the whole time, what I'm trying to do is make sure this is staying square and plumb to itself, which it did. So pretty much that assembly is good. Moving down here, I went through and folded this up for this basket container. The big thing was the little dots. There are a couple of little dots it shows in the instructions. Those are the bottom corner of this box, and fold it up, and then you add the 2 pieces across the front, making sure that they're both on the outside rather than the inside. This is where the debonder could be used as well, but I'm not going to use it. Well, you know what? I'll use it. I've still got it here. Try and make it look a little bit nicer. Got to be careful because the screening here, the edges of the screen act a lot like little nubs to grab everything, so can't do it for all of it. And then these pieces right here that go sliding in, these look like chocks for underneath tires. Dropped them in. They have a tendency to roll, so I got them to go in without rolling, so they're straight down, glued them in. Where the sprue attachments were, I have facing towards the back, whatever the back is in this case. Folding up this bottom piece took a little bit of work because there's these 2 wings that fold down, and then these legs fold out, and especially the back, they've got a frame in here for folding out. And so ended up doing that carefully on the photo etch bender. Then after that, folded down this corrugated stuff. This does not have a fold in it. Right here, this PEMD9. So that was a challenge, but kind of set it up inside the folder and folded it up using a razor blade in this particular case, and that worked well enough. I'm happy with how it came out considering what was going on. There is a bit of a forward lean on this because there is, as noted here, a L shape that you have to bend. That's difficult. I did it on the bender itself again, but took a little bit of work. I ended up using the back side of my tweezers or forceps to go in and bend it up because even though the razor blade is very strong, it wasn't strong enough overall to bend it all straight. So that did it, and that's this piece right in here. Folded up, glued that right to the back of this frame, and then I glued both of those right onto the framing right here. So then we have that set up, and then this was all going to dry. Well, it's all dried now. I'm happy with it, and I wanted it set up that way because when it goes on, it's going to go right over all of this stuff, and that's going to make painting somewhat difficult. So at this point in time, I am not going to attach it. I'm going to leave it off, and I'll find out if the person I'm building this for wants it attached or not. But that's the gist for step 24. Again, I apologize for not having doing it live. I have the whole video, and if I do ever figure out how to get that particular video off of my camera and put it onto the computer. I don't know if it's size or what. I will do so. Part of my part of the musings that I was going over to when I was doing the video was, you know, it's been about 5 months since I did this. Well, I ended up switching jobs, and in the course of switching jobs and this crazy winter, just never really had the time to sit down and videotape. It takes, you know, a little bit more work than I guess I thought when I first started doing this, to tape it and process it and upload it and make sure that there's some quality to this. So another thing is that I'm hoping to have a few more videos, not just for the M1070, but also for the Bradley, and maybe even a few other side projects pop up here. Try and keep it quick and clean. So that is step 24 finished up. I hope this gives you a little bit of help, and I'm going to move on to step 25 and look forward to seeing you then. Have a good one.